Good afternoon. Welcome to RMU Live. I'm Isabella Harris.
And I am Brett McGooley.
Tragedy in Dunbar, PA, after a 9-year-old girl was found dead early Thursday after being reported missing on Wednesday. According to the Pennsylvania State Police, Remsmay Eustace was found particularly submerged in the Euclid River around 3:30 a.m. The girl's foster mother, Courtney Melinda Eustace, was charged with criminal homicide, 2 counts of aggravated assault, and endangering the welfare of children, abuse of a corpse, tampering with concealing the death of a child.
A tense search ends in relief Tuesday after 5-year-old Jediah Jackson, who has autism and is nonverbal, was found safe after wandering the Stowe Rocks Primary Center playground. Crews searched for nearly 7 hours across neighborhoods in the Ohio River before a drone spotted him in the nearby woods. Over a dozen police, fire, and EMS teams helped in the rescue. The Stowe Rocks School District says recess will be held indoors while they investigate how the incident occurred. Tonight, the community is grateful and asking tough questions to Department of Defense changing depth of war.
President Trump will be signing an executive order today officially changing the name of the Department of Defense back to the department's former namesake, the Department of War. This comes days after the hints of both the President and Secretary Hegseth that the name would be an incoming, according to the administration. This change is a key initiative to help spearhead the Trump administration's Warrior Ethos campaign. Within the Pentagon, the change will go effect immediately. Washington, D.C. officials are suing the Trump administration for violating the Constitution after the president deployed the National Guard into the city on August 11th in D.C. Attorney General Brian Schwab claimed that the troops are patrolling neighborhoods, conducting searches, and making arrests despite there being federal laws that are generally the military bar from acting as police. In the weeks since the deployment, overall violent crime has dropped 23%. Still, according to the lawsuit, officials believe that the city has suffered and severed irreparable sovereign injury from the deployment.
Big news out of Washington. President Donald Trump has announced that the U.S. Space Command will be officially moved to its headquarters to Huntsville, Alabama, reversing a previous decision to keep it in Colorado. This move ends a 4-year battle between the two states, both vying for the economic boost and prestige that comes with hosting the command. Trump called Huntsville, quote, Rocket City, end quote, a nod to its deep history with NASA and the U.S. space program. Local leaders say its decision is mission-focused and positions the U.S. to meet growing challenges in space. The president made his return to the spotlight for the Space Command Conference after days without a public appearance, brushing off viral rumors about his health and even claims that he had died. During this press conference, reporters were skeptical about the willingness of the 79-year-old president.
Completely different, but about a big viral social media trend over the weekend. How did you find out over the weekend that you were dead? You see that?
No.
People didn't see you for a couple days. 1.3 million user engagements as of Saturday morning about your demise.
Really? I didn't see that. You know, I have heard, it's sort of crazy, but last week I did numerous news conferences, all successful. They went very well, like this is going very well. And then I didn't do any for 2 days, and they said, there must be something wrong with him. Biden wouldn't do them for months. You wouldn't see him. And nobody ever said there was ever anything wrong with him, and we know he wasn't in the greatest of shape. No, I heard that. I get reports. Now, you knew I did an interview that lasted for about an hour and a half with somebody, and everybody saw that was on one of your competitors. I did numerous shows and also did a number of truths, long truths, I think pretty poignant truths. No, I was very active over the weekend. They also knew I went out to visit some people at the club that I own, pretty nearby on the Potomac River. And no, I've been very active actually over the weekend. I didn't hear that one. That's pretty serious stuff.
President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky held a detailed call Thursday, focusing on, quote, maximum protection for Ukraine's skies as Russian aerial attacks continue. The conversation followed a summit in Paris with the coalition of the willing, where Zelensky proposed a new air defense format for the U.S. to consider. European leaders joined the call discussing ways to pressure Russia economically and strengthen Ukraine's security.
President Trump says he's ready to deploy the federal forces in Chicago and Baltimore to fight the crime. This comes after the president deployed the troops in Washington, D.C. to squash crime. The president insists that it is his active duty to call both the cities unsafe. There is a pushback, however, on these potential moves as the Governor J.B. Pritzker of Illinois and the Governor of Maryland oppose this. The city is moving that federal intervention is unnecessary and potentially dangerous. Legal challenges are being prepared by both governors and the president. He stated that he will do everything in his power to support the local leaders. After threats to Baltimore and Chicago, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro is preparing for the possibility of the President Trump sending into the National Guard into Philadelphia. Though no deployment is confirmed, the governor has criticized the president's recent guard usage in cities like Los Angeles and D.C., calling it wrong-headed and potentially disruptive. Violent crime in Philly is actually down by homicides dropping over 18%, and the statewide gun violence has fallen 42% since Shapiro took office. He says now that it is time to build trust and not bring in troops.
Chinese President Xi Jinping welcomed Russian President Vladimir Putin as a, quote, old friend this week. As the two leaders led high-level talks in Beijing, their meeting comes as both nations face mounting pressure from the United States and Europe, especially over Russia's war in Ukraine. Putin called ties with China unpredictably high, and the two shared tea with China's political nerve center. After the talks, China announced it would offer a 30-day visa-free travel to Russian citizens starting later this month. The meeting followed a summit of Schengen Cooperation, an organization, and proceeds to major military parade marketing the 18th anniversary of the end of World War II. Russia also signed energy deals with China, boosting gas deliveries and Western sanctioning, targeting Chinese firms linked in Russia's military. Analysts say Beijing and Moscow are aligning more closely to counter U.S. influence. The House Oversight Committee has released thousands of files from the Justice Department related to the sex trafficking investigations into Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. Most of the documents posted online contain previously known court filings, body cam footage, and victim interviews. Epstein died in January of 2019 while facing charges of abusing teenage girls. Maxwell is currently serving a lengthy prison sentence for helping him in the release, comes as lawmakers returning from recess. Reciting a political battle, Speaker Mike Johnson is working to block a bipartisan push for the bill that would force the Justice Department to release all Epstein-related records, excluding victims' personal details. The move reflects growing pressure on Congress to fully uncover what is still hidden in the Epstein case.
A major ruling out of Washington is shaking up the tech world. On Tuesday, a federal judge ordered changes to Google's search engine, aiming to rein what called an illegal monopoly. While stopping a short break, the nearly 5-year antitrust case began under President Trump and continued under President Biden. Judge Mehta acknowledged the challenge of predicting in the future of technology, writing, quote, not exactly a judge fort, end quote. While Google avoids the breakup of the ruling, quote, reshape how search works and controls to the gateway of the internet.
Well, when September rolls around, you never know what you're going to see when you walk outside in the morning. Do you need a jacket? Is it going to rain? Sarah Krim has the weather forecast for today.
Okay, thank you, Brett. So, welcome to Weather. My name is Sarah Krim, and I'll be telling you all about it. So, at 3 p.m., it's looking like it's going to be a high of 80 degrees, partially cloudy. At 6 p.m., it's also partially cloudy, high of 80 degrees, looking pretty, the same. 9 p.m., it's going to get a little colder, more cloudy, 74 degrees. And then it's going to be a 55% chance for humidity and 15% chance of precipitation, high of 83 and a low of 59. That's all. Now send it back to the desk.
Thanks, Sarah. We will head back to the board later in the show for the whole forecast. Parents were arrested after kids were found living in dungeon-like conditions. The legendary Kraft-Heinz merger is officially coming to an end, as well as Brewster's Real Ice Cream is expanding their horizons. Don't go anywhere. All of this and more when we return on RMU Live.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? But now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Jason, let's go see your room.
Things could be stranger, but I don't know how. I'm going through changes now. Could spend a lifetime trying to figure it out. I'm going through changes, through all of the strangeness. I'm going through changes now.
Two Fayette County parents are facing multiple charges after their 5 children were found, quote, living in deplorable conditions. Pennsylvania state troopers reported they had no beds, feces and fleas covering multiple rooms, and boarded up windows. The children aged 5 to 14 were immediately removed from the home. During the initial search warrant, pistols and drugs were found in the home as well. The story is currently developing.
Tragic scene unfolded Monday morning in Pleasant Hills. Police say 72-year-old Edgar Dawson shot and killed his son, 38-year-old Bradley Dawson, before taking his own life. Brad was a beloved former quarterback at Thomas Jefferson High School, remembered for leading the team to its first state championship in 2004. His former coach, Bill Chirpak, called him, quote, an amazing athlete and even better person, end quote.
2 Ohio residents could be facing multiple charges after being accused of trafficking over $100,000 worth of cocaine into the western PA border. The Drug Administration, along with the PA police, stopped a vehicle in Beaver Falls on Saturday. During the stop, they recovered 5 kilograms of cocaine. The 2 suspects remain on bail for $1 million as the investigation continues.
A new immigration directive under President Donald Trump's administration is drawing criticism. Parents seeking to reunite with children who crossed into the U.S. alone are now required to attend in-person interviews with immigration officers. Legal advocates say the change has already led to arrests, leaving some children stuck in custody while their parents face detention. The Department of Homeland Security hasn't confirmed the arrest, but pointed to past challenges under the Biden administration monitoring placement homes. Brewster's Real Ice Cream will be celebrating its local roots. This month, Brewster's will open a new store in Shadyside and finish remodeling its original store in Bridgewater. These 2 locations will have a more modern design, including digital menu boards, a patio, as well as a drive-thru, which will be the first timer for the company. The store plans to open mid-September.
A popular Thai restaurant in the Shadyside is being hit with a consumer alert after a recent inspection. Noodlehead on Highland Avenue was issued an alert after 15 violations were found following the August 25th inspection. The Allegheny County Health Department report found that 4 of these violations were considered high risk for causing foodborne illness. Officials stated that these serious violations must be attended to in order to continue the business. With fall closely approaching, football season is finally here. We have all the latest sports updates whenever we return.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Whatcha? Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? And now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Jason, let's go see your room.
Things could be stranger, but I don't know how. I'm going through changes now. Could spend a lifetime trying to figure it out. I'm going through changes, through all of the strangeness. I'm going through changes now.
As we say goodbye to summer, we are excited to welcome in the sports-filled fall weekends ahead.
Bobby Mo Ball.
Hello. It has been quite the sports week around the globe. But first, let's start out with some local RMU sports news. Let's go back to last Saturday and start off with the football team as they took on the West Virginia Mountaineers to start their season off. I had the chance to travel down to Morgantown to watch the Colonials in their season opener, and here's how it went.
I'm Joey Dramasic from Mountaineer Field. Let's see how the Colonials performed today as they took on West Virginia in their first game.
The Robert Morris Colonials opened their 2025 campaign as they traveled to Morgantown to take on the West Virginia Mountaineers. This was Coach Rich Rodriguez's first game back in his hometown in over 16 years, kicking off his second stint with the Mountaineers. The Colonials knew they were in for an uphill battle, but may have turned some heads early in the game, with the game being a tale of two halves. The start of the game was the opposite of what the Colonial defense hoped for, as the Mountaineers stormed down the field and started the game up 7-0 just after the first drive, going 83 yards in 10 plays. The Colonials would have a tough time responding to the touchdown and could not get anything past the bigger and stronger front line that the Mountaineers presented. The slow start wasn't only because of the more athletic Mountaineer defense, but because of simple mistakes by the Colonials with numerous drop passes and some miscommunication on the routes by the receivers. The Colonials, however, would have a second quarter to remember, forcing 3 turnovers alone in the quarter. Jason Jenkins would bring the Colonials within 7 points with his field goal late in the half, but the Mountaineers would have a 10-3 halftime advantage over the Colonials. Coach Bernard Clark recognized playing in such an environment was special to his players, saying it was the biggest atmosphere they have ever been in, so I am proud of how they started the game out. Unfortunately for the Colonials, the story switched after halftime as the Mountaineers pushed away from the Colonials early in the third quarter, taking a 24-3 lead heading into the fourth and ultimately scoring 3 more touchdowns to walk away with a 45-3 win over RMU. The Mountaineer offense gained 625 total yards on offense, gaining a whopping 393 yards in the run game, with a heavy amount of that total in the second half. Coach Clark, after the game, stated that the team knows that this was just the first game and saying that's why they call it a season. Got to be ready for the next one. The Colonials will take on some positives on the defensive side of the ball and look to take down Youngstown State in Ohio on Saturday at 2 p.m.
Now let's take a look at some other Colonial action. The women's soccer team hosted Bowling Green University yesterday, but not at their normal home field. After the game was delayed 3 hours, they hosted the Falcons at the and Montour Junction Sports Complex. The Colonials opened the score sheet with a goal by Paloma Slankler that was assisted by Shauna Gamble and Ava Trethway. Unfortunately for the Colonials, the Falcons would score 2 unanswered goals, one taking place in the first half scored by Ella Kane and their others scored by Isabella Manzafero. The Colonials will travel to St. Francis University to take on the Red Flash on Sunday at 1 p.m. Moving on to the men's side, they took on St. Francis University yesterday and took them down 2-0, with both goals being scored by freshman Rory Ahmed to score his second and third goals of the season. After starting the season with 2 draws, the Colonials have won their last 2 games, and the defending Horizon League champions look to improve their record against Niagara University Sunday at 1 p.m. in New York. Switching things over to the volleyball court, the RMU volleyball team will host the Chick-fil-A Pittsburgh Volleyball Classic and take on Fairleigh Dickinson and Loyola Maryland University on Friday and take on their Pittsburgh rival Duquesne on Saturday at 3 p.m. in the UPMC Event Center on Saturday. The NFL season started last night as the Philadelphia Eagles hosted the Dallas Cowboys as they look to defend their Super Bowl status as Super Bowl 59 champions. The Cowboys, coming off the blockbuster trade that sent All-Pro linebacker Micah Parsons to the Green Bay Packers in return for Kenny Clark and 2 first-round picks. Even though the Cowboys lost one of their best players, they hung around the entire game, making it difficult for the Eagles to get in their groove and expand their lead. The Eagles would end up winning their season opener 24-20, and the Cowboys accumulated more yards than the Eagles, but the Philadelphia defense showed up late in the game to start off the season with a win. Now, some stuff around the Berg. The Pirates hosted the Los Angeles Dodgers this week in a 3-game homestand, and even though the season has not gone to plan in the eyes of the players and the fans, they had a successful home series this week, sweeping the National League West leaders. The Pirates have 21 games left on their season, and even though this season was a disappointing one, they still have time to end the dreary season on a high note. The Steelers open up their season against the Jets with a lot of excitement with their new Super Bowl winning quarterback Aaron Rodgers and star wide receiver DK Metcalf. And the Steelers will take on against one of their former quarterbacks, Justin Fields, to kick off their season opener at 1 p.m. Finishing up sports this week with some national news regarding Los Angeles Clippers forward Kawhi Leonard and a contract situation that has raised many questions regarding Clippers and their owner Steve Ballmer. The NBA has launched an investigation on the Clippers after it was reported that Leonard was given a $28 million no-show endorsement deal with Aspiration Fund Advisor, a company that Ballmer and the Clipper organization partnered with in 2021. Aspiration has filed for bankruptcy, and Ballmer and Leonard's names were listed as creditors at the time. The Clippers have denied any wrongdoing and were made aware of the league's investigation. Well, that's all for sports this week. Come back next week for your weekly sports update. And until next time, I'm Joey Dramasic, back to the desk.
Thanks, Joey. Be on the lookout for weekly episodes of Sports Talk in the Berg, as well as Colonial Sports Center for the latest updates from the pitch to the field.
The leaves are changing and so is the weather, but hopefully not too fast. We have the latest weather updates for you as soon as we return.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to RMU Live. The weather has been all over the place this week. Let's send it over to Sarah to get the full forecast.
Welcome back to the weather. So tomorrow's forecast is going to be a high of 67 degrees and a low of 52 degrees. 71% of humidity and 43% chance of precipitation. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the 5-day forecast. So on Sunday, it's going to be a high of 70 degrees. It's going to be partially cloudy, a low of 46 degrees. Monday, high of 72 degrees, low of 47 degrees. Again, a little bit partially cloudy. Tuesday, it's going to be sunny, finally. High of 78 degrees, a low of 52 degrees. On Wednesday, partially cloudy again, high of 80 degrees, low of 55 degrees. And then Thursday, it's going to be cloudy again, high of 81 degrees and a low of 53 degrees. All right, that's all I have for you weather today. Back to the desk.
Thanks, Sarah. Looks like next week is going to be looking pretty good at Bobby Mill, but it may not be a bad idea to keep a hoodie and a rain jacket close by.
Fashion designer Giorgio Armani has passed away at the age of 91. He founded Armani in 1975, which is a luxurious Italian fashion brand. Giorgio Armani initially became a household name by adapting the custom tailors of softening the structures of a man's suit to reveal the body inside. Not too long after, it grabbed the style of many female clients. In more recent years, he has remained isolated in his home in Milan, Italy. Many celebrities have been uploading their memoriam and tributes to Mr. Armani's legacy.
A woman known as the, quote, ketamine queen has pled guilty into selling actor Matthew Perry the drug that ultimately killed him. Jasmine Sangha is the fifth and final defendant charged in Perry's death. Matthew Perry has been nursing ketamine through his doctor as a legal but an off-label treatment for his depression. He struggled with the drug addiction for many years throughout his time and hit the sitcom Friends.
That's all for us. Thank you for watching RMU Live.
Be sure to tune in again next week.